Hey, what's happening, everybody? How we doing? You guys getting along in this quarantine? It sucks, but it is what it is. We have to deal with it. I don't want to wallow in that. What I want to do is, since we really can't look forward and we don't know how things are going to look moving forward in the future. I mean, are we going to wear masks in stadiums or what? Anyway, we're going to take a look back. I'm going to walk you through the 1980s, the 1990s, the 2000s, and the 2010s. I'm going to take a look at Supercross and Motocross and just touch on some of the greats that were throughout the history of the sport. Who ruled and why and what bikes were they on and any storylines I can tell you. I'm going to start with the 1980s. I don't want to go all the way back to the 70s. Guys, I was born in 75, so anything past in the 70s, like, I'm not going to remember. Honestly, I have a hard enough time. Most of the stuff from the 80s is childhood memories, and I got some of it in my own head and some of it I've learned, but I'm going to start with 1980. So 1980 was the year. This is in 79. Bob Hanna dominated everything, and believe it or not, this guy loses out in the off season to a water skiing accident. Yes, he may or may not have been drinking alcohol. Bob Hanna sipping on Grandpa's cough syrup with Marty Tripes, his competitor, driving the boat, from what I heard. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm saying, is it a Nancy Kerrigan type situation? No, I'm just kidding. It definitely wasn't. I'm pretty sure Marty was a nice guy and he never would have done anything like that. But I'm sure there was a lot of jokes like, hey, how do you get rid of the competitor? Just go water skiing with Marty. If it were the age of social media, that would never die. It was before kind of the El Cajon zone started dominating everything. So when Bob Hanna got hurt, it was wide open. Who was going to win the Supercross? Well, if everyone thought his hated rival, Ken Howerton, for sure would win it, right? But there was a guy, too tall, Mike Bell. Mike Bell stepped in for the Supercross championship in 1980, and to most people's surprise, he won. He filled in for Bob Hanna on Yamaha, and brought him their title. I had to sting. If I'm Kent Howerton, I had to have been pissed. Like, really? Hanna goes out But we've seen that a few times throughout racing where a guy's number one rival goes out and it almost takes the fire out of the other guy. But Howerton did get it back for the outdoors and won the Outdoor 250 Championship. And that same year, my buddy Chuck Sun won the 500cc class. Chuck got his only national championship. He did get a designation championship on the very first team that ever went over and won. And he tells me about it all the time. But that's Chuck. He's a great guy. I'm so glad. Part of the reason I wanted to start this in 1980s, I wanted to make sure I got him in there. He's still around. He's very much a part of the scene. If you see him, ask him about it. He loves talking about it. He'll tell you any story. And the dude, for a racer, he's got a mind like a steel trap. He'll tell you about battling with so-and-so and his battles with Rick Burgett. Oh, boy. Yeah, they grew up racing together and battled together at PIR. And, yeah, it's good stuff. So if you see Chuck, say hi. Track builder, Mark Barnett. A lot of people in this generation don't even know Mark Barnett was a serious racer. That was one bad dude on his RM with his full floater suspension. I heard rumors of him. People would go stay with him, and he had his own moonshine. And he has just had, like, people talk about the days in the 90s when Ricky would ride these Kawasaki's and just dump them, and there was like a hole, and they would bury them all when they were done instead of just cleaning them up and fixing them. I think Barnett started that. He used to ride until it was out of gas and then push it back was part of his training. And then he'd fill it up and do it again. And he was just savage. He was the original hardcore training, just grinded out guy. And that actually paid off in 81 because he won the Supercross championship in 81 on a Suzuki. Howerton, once again, got it done in the outdoors. And we saw Brock Glover, the golden boy. This is the first part of the El Cajon zone. Showed up on his Yamaha, and he'd already won some stuff. He had the Lutbrock by, but he was really a 500 specialist. And had he ever got on a Honda, he would have never lost on a 500. I cannot believe he won on a Yamaha air-cooled, we'll just call it a dinosaur. The thing's a piece of crap. And I have no idea how Brock did it. That's one bad dude right there. And if you see him at the Dunlop tent, go say hi and ask him about the movie he was in, Winner Take All.
Do you have any idea how long it took me to find this place?
What are you doing here?
I think we had plans, remember?
Oh, Carl, I completely forgot. I'm sorry. God, we've been riding and I forgot. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, I mean, 25 minutes driving down this dirt road.
Yeah, I know. Well, can we still go out now?
Yeah, we got time if you hurry up and go down there, but, you know, let's
All right,
go.
I'll hurry, okay? Could you guys take my bike and my truck and stuff?
Yeah, sure. You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. All right, see you later. Bye. Yeah.
See you later.
Oh, and Mark Barnett, once again, dominated the 125s in 81. So in 80, he was a 125 champ. 81, he was Supercross and 125 outdoor champ. He had to go to a 250 Supercross because there was no 125, or he probably would have done that at that time. Now we're heading into 82. In 82, we saw Donnie Holeshot Hansen. I'm sure you guys have seen him around. He's got his schools. He's just a great guy to be around. He always says hi. He was dominant. He won the 82 Supercross, the 82 Outdoors, and got hurt right before the Motocross of Nations. Hit his head, almost died, and I believe he did come back to racing, but never really came back to racing, and it was horrific. It was one of the scarier incidents we've had in our sport, and to have a guy at the top of his game like that suffer that kind of an injury, it was bad. But that was also the time when we started to say, these Hondas are really good. Are they an advantage? So he won in 82. Then in 83, David, the little Professor Bailey, got his first win. That was, once we saw Bailey ride, he kind of changed things. But wait a second, Hannah used to just gas it and people would hang off the back and fly around. This guy looks so smooth. How does he do it? And they brought in technique. So we all started to wonder, wait, is there more technique there? Bob Hanna left Yamaha, went to Honda, didn't get a champion. He never did get another championship, but he did win the biggest race of the year at that time, the Daytona Supercross. I remember watching it on TV, which they didn't televise a lot of races, but they televised that one. It was a big deal. Hanna won it. That's what he did. Johnny O'Mara, he won on 1983 125 National Championship. I believe that was the Mugen Honda year. And Glover, once again, on the 500. That big old hunk of crap. I don't know how he did it. And it was funny, kind of, Mark Barnett took that 125 momentum and went to the next year and won the Supercross title. Johnny O'Mara took that Mugen momentum and went right to the 84 Supercross series and won that championship. Keep in mind, these series, the previous year momentum mattered. The current year, they had to go back and forth between bikes. It wasn't all Supercross and all outdoor nationals. They were mixed all between, and the schedule was it really made no sense. It's funny, the guys complain about it now, but man, if they had to do it back then, they would just be like, what? They did what they had to. And this is the time when Yamaha was really falling behind. Hanna left. They decided for some crazy reason to use production bikes, which RJ won the outdoor title on it. I don't know how. Bailey got the better Glover because he had so much better of a bike outdoors. It's not even fair that 500 he was riding versus Brock's 490, which is probably the same bike that they sold up until like the 2000s, is horrible. Jeff Ward, we saw him. He won the 84. He got the 125 title and continued that 125 title, followed by a Supercross title next year as he won the 85 Supercross title. But let's not forget, this one had a lot of controversy. This was the one where Brock Glover protested him for riding backwards, and he rode backwards. There's no argument there. But it didn't go through. They gave the championship to Ward, and that one stings for Brock. If you do see Brock at the Dunlop tent, do not bring that one up. That still hurts. Ward won the 250 outdoor that same year. Glover did get the 500 title, and Lachine on that super trick 1985 Factory Works 125 with the rear disc brake that I loved. God, it was amazing. And then in 86, it was all Honda all the time. And now we really are feeling the Honda domination. This is the peak 80s domination. RJ wins the Supercross title and the outdoor title. Bailey gets the 500 title. And a guy, they pulled off a Husqvarna. Some unknown dude named Mickey Diamond rode a Husqvarna the year before. They said, oh, you want to ride a 125? Sure. Wins the title because he's on a Honda, right? It's just how it works. You put a guy on it, he wins it. 87, Ward. Okay, this was a weird year. So in 87, in the off season, it was all RJ and Bailey and this huge battle, and everyone pretty much overlooked Ward, Lachine, and all the other guys. It was just the RJ and Bailey. Bailey gets hurt. He gets paralyzed in the offseason. It really messes with Rick's head. He gets knocked out at the opener, just never really finds his form. He won some races and made it competitive, but then he broke his fingers in Pontiac, and it didn't work out for RJ. Wardy got the outdoor title, or I'm sorry, he got the Supercross title. RJ got the outdoor title and the 500 title, which 2 in the same year. And at that point, nobody got all 3 in the same year like that. Diamond, once again, was the 125 champ. In 88, RJ was very dominant, very, very dominant. This is the year he should have got all 3 of those titles. Dominated Supercross, dominated outdoor, and then got a flat tire at, I believe, the last round or second to last round. And they were running half the series. The 125 series would go all 12 rounds. The 250s would go 6, and the 500 would go 6. So one of those 6 rounds, if you had an issue, it was done. So RJ had an issue in one of those rounds, even though he was the most dominant guy, did not win the 250 title, came back, won the 500 title. So he didn't get all 3 in the same year, which he really, really wanted. 89, the final year of the 80s. This was all RJ. We were just expecting the RJ. He was better than everybody. He just switched to JT gear. He was wearing this goofy half chest protector thing, but it didn't matter. It was RJ. He just won. He won the first 5 rounds of the season in Supercross. He did lose one. He lost the front end, and Jeff Stanton won Atlanta. Then they went to Gainesville, the Outdoor National, and we all know Danny Sorbeck landed on him, broke his wrist. And for all practical purposes, that was the end of Rick Johnson's story. He was young. He did come back. He did win a couple races after that. He won, I think he won Gainesville. He won his last Outdoor National that he ever rode, which people don't know that. I believe the next year, the year after. But we did see some guys in that 125 class that would make up the 90s. We saw LaRocco, Bradshaw, Matasevich, Larry Ward, Steve Lamson. And, oh yeah, this guy named McGrath is kind of on the horizon there. If you like these videos, subscribe. I'll do more, and we'll go from there. Thanks, guys. Stay safe out there.
Probably should put this on YouTube.